Today I want to talk about the difference between individualist and collectivist cultures. This will become important in the novel that we're reading together in class. Now, all over the world, some cultures are individualist and others are collectivist. This isn't an ancient and modern thing. This is just a modern thing. So as I go through these lists and talk about some examples, maybe think to yourself if the United States is an individualist culture or a collectivist culture. An individualist culture, obviously from the name, focuses primarily on the individual. Each individual person is the most important. Their individual goals and achievement and self-fulfillment is what is the most important in that culture. In a collectivist culture, the group is the most important. The well-being and the goals of the group come before the well-being of an individual. Individualist cultures promote self-expression, individual thinking, and personal choice, while collectivists promote teamwork and respect for others. Now, if we pause here for a second, just looking at individualist and collectivist, there really isn't a right or wrong. This is just how cultures are and how we've become over time. So there are positives and negatives about both of these. I don't want you to think that one is right and one is wrong. Back to our individualist cultures highly value privacy and personal space. If you think about communal living or community living, that would be the opposite of what an individualist culture would value. Individualist culture is all about personal achievement, personal goals, personal space, personal privacy, not about the well-being of the group. On the opposite side are collectivist cultures, value relationship, collaboration, right? A lot more being together, collecting as a group. I put this example for business on the bottom as well because I thought it was interesting to read online that in an individualist culture, business is competitive. There's a focus on being the best and getting to the top of the pack. And in a collectivist culture, it's more about helping the whole group succeed. It's more about collaboration than about individual achievement and leadership. A focus on membership as opposed to a focus on leadership. In a collectivist culture, it would be better to be a member of a group than to be a leader of a group. All right, maybe even pause the video right now and consider which is the US? Is the US an individualist culture or a collectivist culture? Well, to help you get on the right track, let's think about how people live in their homes. Generally in the US, people live in single-family homes, meaning perhaps they get married and have children, but they probably don't live with aunts and uncles. They probably don't live with grandparents. Some people do, but most often single-family homes. And when children get old enough, they move out of that home and they have their own single-family home. Let's also think about academics. In a classroom of 30 students, you earn your own individual grade. You turn in your own assignments, and you get the grade that you earned based on the merit of your work. Any guesses yet which one the US is? We are a highly individualist culture. We really value personal achievement, personal space, leadership. All of these ideals are very American. There are certainly collectivist cultures. Many Asian countries have collectivist cultures where they believe that we should be bringing up the group as opposed to bringing up the individual. If you think about how that might look different, maybe multi-generational living. Consider maybe where your grandparents live, right? Your grandparents probably live in a separate home from you. Maybe they live with you, but they may live in a separate home, or they may actually live in a nursing home or an assisted living or a retirement home. So in the US, we have those because we are an individualist culture. In a collectivist culture, the grandparent or the elder would just live with the family because we're keeping the group together and we're thinking about the well-being of the group as opposed to the well-being of the individual. Think about how grades might work if we were in a collectivist culture. Maybe you would focus more on helping your classmates so that you can bring their grade up so that as a group we can all do better. And maybe you wouldn't earn your own personal grade. Certainly transcripts or GPAs maybe wouldn't matter as much in a collectivist culture where we're trying to focus on the group. So the novel that we're about to read, Anthem, features a highly collectivist culture. So collectivist, in fact, that they care about the group so much, they have deleted a word from their language. No one is allowed to say it. It's like a swear word, all right? A swear word that you would get arrested for if you said it out loud. Any guess? What's the worst word you could possibly say in a collectivist culture? It's the word I. No one can say that. Because if you say I, you're saying that I'm an individual and I am different than you. And I have different needs and I have different wants and I have different goals, and that's individualist. So the society in this novel is so collectivist, no one says the word I. It doesn't even exist in their language anymore. I'm just going to read a couple sentences so that you can hear what this sounds like, because you'll have to get a sound for this as you read the novel. The narrator says, "And we knew that there is no transgression or sin blacker than to do or think alone. We have broken the laws. The law says that men may not write unless the Council of Vocations tells them to. May we be forgiven." So which word have they replaced I with? The word we. So sometimes our narrator will be alone, and he's a male, he'll be saying we. So when he says, "we are writing," it's not him and somebody else, it's just him alone. Now, sometimes in the book, he will be with other people, so it is important to pay attention to what's going on in the scene. That's the first hurdle to get over in this writing, just that they don't have the word I, so our narrator will always be saying we. We are this old. We are named this. We go to eat dinner. And sometimes he's with people and sometimes he's alone. So you'll have to pay careful attention to that, because this culture, again, is so collectivist that they've completely gotten rid of the word I. So there's the difference between individualist and collectivist cultures. As we read the novel, consider what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of both of these cultures, and maybe which one do you think would be the ideal to live in?